Hey guys, welcome back. Today is day 2 of the chicken coop build. If you don't know, you're watching North Country Off Grid, and this little part series is all about the chicken coop build. We're going to do a couple videos. You guys are going to watch us erect our chicken coop, but today we're going to tackle the floor. So we've got the floor system in. That was the last thing we tackled. Today we're going to put in our flooring, which means that we have to go mill a bunch of wood. Actually, we're going to go cut. So today's video is going to be mostly a bunch of milling. Then we're going to install it, and then we're going to put that laminate piece down. That's what I hope to get done today. While we're milling, we might even mill all of our parts for our walls, or at least get a start on it. We got a late start to the day. We had to run to the store and get some stuff for the mill, some supplies. It's pretty much the first time I've fired up the mill this season, and I've noticed a couple things that are wrong with it. I had a part freeze and break, so I bought some JB Weld for just a quick little fix before I actually pull off the full fitting and replace it. But getting that was just what I decided to do today to see if it would work too. So we got some other stuff. We got some pine sol, which I'll show you guys how I mix up everything for my mill. Some distilled water, that's what I run through the mill. We got some nice fresh gasoline, so we'll put that in there. But I'll take you guys through that whole process. I actually add dish soap to my mill water too, so all of that stuff keeps the blade clean, keeps it going. That's what I've done so far. That's what's worked for me, so that's what I've continued to do. I picked all those tips up by watching YouTube. Good job, YouTube. Charlie's gonna help. Oh, Charlie. Charlie's gonna help today. You gonna test out the chicken coop floor? Yeah? Charlie's getting big. Won't be too much more of this lifting you up stuff, huh? Yeah. You comfortable? Oh. What are you doing? What are you doing? Alright guys, so I'm gonna go pack some cans over, get it over to the mill. We'll get set up over there, and I'll show you guys what we do over there. You ready? Let's do it, Charlie. Come on. So we're over the top of the mill. Here's what we've got to fix. During the winter, this thing snapped off of here. Just like that. It looks like it just got cold and popped. So what we're going to do is put some JB Weld down on that. Let it set up, harden, and let it just set in place. And it should seal it up, and that'll just keep me from having to take out this entire brass fitting and replacing it, which I'll eventually do. I just didn't want to run all the way into town today. So what this is the water line. This water line is going to come off of this tank reservoir here. It comes down here, runs down this tube, runs down and in, all the way down the tube, and then down to the blade, and it just sits there and drops on the blade and adds moisture to the blade. And it doesn't have pressure. There's no pressure, so it won't blow this off. So this JB Weld, it can withstand X amount of PSI. So all it's going to do is hold it in place. Honestly, duct tape would probably work to keep it in place. I don't think it would leak at all because there's no pressure. It's just gravity fed. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to mix up some JB Weld, throw it on there, and then while that's completely drying, it takes 6 minutes to set up. So while that's completely drying, we'll fill our tank, get all of our stuff in there, and get going on that. It shouldn't leak at all. And then while we're operating it, it's just going to sit there and dry. Okay, so here's what we're using. This product's called JB Weld. It's just a quick weld. It's going to, it's just 2 parts. We're going to mix them together. It's going to make something kind of like a clay mixture, and then we are going to put this into place, form it, put it around it, and it's going to dry. This stuff dries pretty darn hard. Let's see what it says. Works on metal, wood, plastic, tile, PVC, ceramic, fiberglass, concrete, and more. So that's metal. We're good. So we shouldn't need too much of this stuff. And we'll just probably mix it up right on top of our machine, which probably isn't a good idea. So we'll pop this top. And what we're gonna do is just do equal parts. So we're gonna do, we'll say that much, something like, I don't know, a penny. We're already making a mess. There you go. So we shouldn't have done it on the machine. Okay, then we're putting this other part in. I don't know which one's which. Oh, this is just, this says steel on it, which I believe is just the color, I think. And then the other one, the one we just put on, was the hardener. So we'll add the same size there, like that, cap it. And then we'll just find a little piece of wood on the ground. Here's a stick, and we're just gonna mix this stuff around. What we probably should do is put it on there, let it dry, then come back and work on it. What I'll do is put it on there, barely let it dry, and start working on it, and hopefully it holds. But it's where we're at. I need to mill this wood to get going on the chicken coop, so we're gonna have to just rush the step. I'm not gonna wait a couple hours. This stuff I think dries in like 4 hours, or hardens in 4 to 6 hours. Alright, so this stuff's thickening up pretty good. It's getting a lot harder to mix around, so I think we're probably ready to go. We'll get it all piled up to where it's a little bit easier to grab. I don't think this stuff is harmful for you to grab. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab it anyway, and I guess I'll let you know if it gets to burning. Might be a good idea to use gloves. Alright, so I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna put it on the top of this fitting and move it around. And then what I'm gonna do is make sure that there's no excess over the side of this fitting, because I do have to take this out to replace it. And if there's all this material keeping it in, you know, I'll have to bust it loose somehow. But most importantly, I just want it to hold the water for today. So it is trying to bend itself loose a little bit, and I don't want to have to hold this the whole time. So what I'm going to do is get a little piece of duct tape to hold this tube right here, because the pressure of it is trying to get it to fall out. It kind of needs to be held like that. The weight of this tube is making it bend, so it needs to hold still until it has the chance to harden. Alright, so there's our piece. There's our fitting. All this brown stuff around it is the JB Weld. We basically just made a new seam around it. It's going to harden like that. It'll just become one piece. You can see basically the crack of the fitting where it was. So we're down in the fitting. We're sealing all of that up. It looks like we've got a nice seal on it. So we just got to let that sit and harden up for a little bit, and it'll become rock hard. It won't move. It'll keep all that stuff together. So it'll be a good temporary fix. Might even be a good permanent fix. That shouldn't break. So we might just leave it like that. We'll just see. And then I got a piece of duct tape, Gorilla tape, sitting on here, holding that tube, so that tube, the weight of it doesn't bend that while it's drying, because we're not going to sit here and watch it. We're going to go do some other stuff. So we'll move on. Let it dry. All right, guys. So here's what we got. We got some distilled water. Use distilled water in this stuff. What I'll do is I'll take my gallon of it, make a mess everywhere. I'll pour some out of my gallon just to make room. Okay, now this stuff is pretty precise, so you might need to write this down. Okay, so you got your gallon of water, you got your pine saw, you let a little bit of room out. So what we're going to do is put an exact amount in here. That's probably good. And then you get some Dawn dish soap. good enough. So write those down, make a note, that way you don't mess it up. Just shake all this stuff up. I like to shake it, not too much so it'll bubble like crazy. And then I just dump the rest of it in here. And now what this stuff does, make sure your tank is closed too. You don't want all this stuff just running down and running out while you're filling the top. What this stuff does is it lubes the blade while it's running, and it keeps the pitch off of it from collecting too, because that pitch will ruin your blade. It'll also slow your blade down. And as you're doing this stuff, you'll get to figuring out how much water you need on your blade. I just get kind of a slow drip going. I don't like the big mess of all this stuff. And actually, too much soap on this stuff will start to turn your wood blue. Well, at least mine, because I use blue Dawn dish soap. But you just mess with it, figure out what you like. There you go. So, put your cap back on. I filled it up about halfway. It's probably a 2-gallon cylinder, so you'll need 2 of these. We won't blow through this gallon with what we're doing. I don't run that much water on it, so this should be plenty. So we'll throw some fuel in it, fire it up, and get her going. So I've got a few boards cut. I'm gonna put them on and then see what I need. I don't want to cut more than what I need. Lumber's pretty precious to me, so what we're gonna do is cut exactly what we need, and I won't start chopping into a bunch of my other logs right now. I'm gonna go through, use this, figure out what I need, mill a little more, come back, get it done, maybe mill a little more. But I'm gonna do that to make sure that I save wood. It's going to be a little bit slower, it's less efficient, but might save wood. I don't want to waste any because I can mill this stuff into all sorts of dimensions, so keeping the most amount of material on the log is beneficial to me. So we'll get going on that.